Hey, so I'm finally doing these thyroid videos. This one is going to be more background information, a little bit of technical stuff on as far as like the tests, you know, how I came about all of this and this journey that I feel like I've been on forever. So to go back about 6 years ago, 6 years ago, I came home from work one day and I sat on the couch, turned on the TV, was watching He's Just Not That Into You, and cried and cried and cried for like 2 hours straight. And I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. This movie is dumb, first. B, I don't care about some chick losing a guy. I don't. For me to sit there and cry, and it was like the ugly sob, can't catch your breath cry, and I was like, no, this isn't me. Something's wrong, and I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something physically was wrong with me, because that's so out of character for me that it just blew my mind. So at that time, I was drinking coffee. Like, listen, I like coffee, but it was too much. I made it like it was rocket fuel, and I drank it. And by a cup, I mean a cereal bowl. The cup that's this big. So I would drink a cereal bowl in the morning and a cereal bowl in the afternoon, and you know, oh, it's just a cup. No, it was more like a pot. Anyhow, so I was drinking tons of coffee because I was exhausted all the time, and I was eating paleo, which again, that added to this. No carbs, no fruits, no vegetables, which is extremely bad for your thyroid. There are people who eat paleo, and I'm not here to debate it, and they're fine. I was not one of them. So for me, that did not work. I was also, I had discovered CrossFit, and I was doing CrossFit 6 times a week. Yeah, 6. And CrossFit is fine. I like it. I think it's a great workout, strength and flexibility. But 6 times a week, it kind of is, or at least the way I experienced it, was kind of like you were in a competition, and it was like, I got to do this. And that makes your adrenal glands go off the charts. So all of those things combined was like the perfect storm for my thyroid to just say, peace out. So what I had experienced was considered a crash. I learned that later. Some of the symptoms that I had that kind of clued me into that was my face was puffy. I had weight gain that I could not get rid of despite the CrossFit and the paleo. I would have bouts of depression, hair loss, thin nails, you know, because being depressed is enough. Let's take your hair and nails. Cold hands and feet, cold all the time. Brain fog, like 8-month pregnant kind of brain fog. I don't remember where I'm going kind of thing. And the big thing that, especially when people tell me this, that they're experiencing this, that the adrenal problem goes off in my head, was I was tired all day, exhausted. Would get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, suck down my 2 pots of coffee, go all day exhausted, and then come 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, boom, I'm awake. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I couldn't get to sleep. You know, I'd lay there and look at the clock, like, okay, if I sleep now, I'll have 4 hours of sleep. If I sleep now, I'll have 3. So I would be up until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up at 5 or 6. It's a vicious cycle. And when people tell me that that's what they're going through, immediately I know they're having adrenal problems, just because your adrenals are suppressed all day long, because they're expecting this big fight or flight kind of thing, that they're like, you know, getting ready to rush you with the adrenaline and cortisol to get you through this experience. And then when that doesn't happen by 8, 9 o'clock at night, then they're like, okay, we can relax, and they release all this big rush of hormone, and that's what gives you that false energy to keep you up at night, and that doesn't allow you to sleep. So, you know, and then you want to, like, you know, do laundry and paint the house at 10 o'clock at night, and that's you know, for people who work a day job, that's not really a good time. So I had gone to a PCP. That was a disaster. Tried my gynecologist, and I said, look, this is all what's happening, and I think I'm going through adrenal fatigue. And they were like, well, you're a mom, you're working full time, you have a husband in the house, and this and that. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not new to this. So I've been handling that for 14, 15 years now. Something else is wrong, and I know it. So it took me being persistent and doing my own research to finally know that, yes, I had basically an adrenal thyroid crash, and that I was in adrenal fatigue. Now there is a test, but it's very unreliable. So I was like, well, I'm not doing that. I could just go by symptoms, and that typically will tell you what you're going through. Now, the tests that most Western trained doctors will do for thyroid is called the TSH test, for thyroid stimulating hormone. All that does is measures the signal between your brain and your thyroid, your pituitary gland and your thyroid, which is good. You need to know that that's working. However, that does not measure what's going on your thyroid here and what it's putting out. And with the TSH test, there is a very broad range that is within normal limits. You can, I got the test, like, all right, let's do this. Got the test, and I was in the very low end of what's considered normal. So according to the doctors, I didn't have a thyroid problem. I was like, I'm calling bullshit. Yes, I do. Something's not right. So you can fall within range, and you know, anywhere from the low end of the range all the way up to the middle, and still have the thyroid problem symptoms or an adrenal symptoms, which are they're very similar. Your adrenal glands are kind of like the first force field before your thyroid craps out on you. So I got that test, and I was like, yeah, something's still wrong. So upon further research, I found that I needed to get a T3, T4 test, which are the two hormones that your thyroid puts out. If those are not working, your thyroid is not working. End of story. I got both of those. I think my T4 was at like 2 points below what is normal, or the bottom end of the normal range, and my T3 didn't even show up for the test. So I was like, yeah, great. So that at least gave me an answer of like, yes, I'm not crazy. This is real, and this is what's going on. Now, what do you do now that you know that? Again, a lot of doctors want to prescribe you Synthroid or levothyroxine, which is the generic, just because that's what they've been told. Here you go. Here's your pill. There's your magic fix. It's not that simple. I did not take Synthroid or Levo just because I had known people that take it, and none of those people were doing any better. So I thought, well, I'm not going to even try it, because I can see that it's not working for those people. One, and two, it only band-aids the problem. When I dug deeper, I found that there's more than just that you need to address. So you have to, you know, the Synthroid was not addressing all the problems and why your thyroid is crashing. Another medicine that can be common but not, if you understand, is called desiccated pig thyroid, or the name it falls under is called armor thyroid. It is very, very difficult to get a doctor to give it to you. for two reasons. Because the dosage in milligrams are very different than Synthroid in the way that dosage is calculated. So when they would see the dosage, they would, oh my God, that's too much. No, it's not even the same thing. So basically, desiccated pig thyroid is freeze-dried tissue, thyroid tissue from a pig that they jam into a pill, and there you go. I took it for a while. It was difficult to get. I actually had to order it from Thailand, and that's another story. But I took it for a while. It worked, but then it stopped working. And again, I figured out, or upon reading books and different websites, that that's not the only piece of the puzzle when you're dealing with a thyroid problem. We wish it would be, and that would be great, but there's a couple different things that you have to address before you even get any kind of relief from that. So I did the Armor for a little while, and then I was like, this isn't working, so I need to do something else. Another test that you really need to do is your iron levels and your B12 levels. When you go to your doctor, you say, I want to get my iron levels tested. What they typically do is a CBC, which is complete blood count. That's fine, but that's not telling you what your actual iron level is. That's telling you hemoglobin, hematocrit, your white blood cells, your red blood cells, and that's great. But what you need is a TIBC, which is total iron binding capacity, which tells you the iron that you have in your blood that's ready to go to work. And your ferritin, which is kind of like your iron storage house, whatever you want to call it. If your ferritin is below 80, your hair will fall out, period. So your iron must be at a certain level in order for your thyroid to come back into work, and your B12 has to be right there with it. So it's not just one piece of the puzzle. You have to have all the pieces to make the whole puzzle, like duh. But that's something that a lot of doctors don't even address. They don't even recognize that this goes together, that the iron and the B12 go together with the thyroid. But I hopefully will connect the dots for you in like the next video. I'm going to go through what the causes of some of these things are, and why so many more women than men, by like 9 times more women than men, go through thyroid problems. There is an estrogen connection that they are finding, that estrogen kind of like throws a little bit of gas onto the fire. But all these thyroid adrenal problems can be backtracked to any form of Epstein-Barr virus. So if you're unfamiliar with that, go back and watch that video. I'm not going to go through it again because time is an issue here. So hopefully that gave you some information as far as like how I came about all this and how I struggled through it a little bit. Like I said, in the next video, I'm going to go more in depth of what causes this, and in the third video, I'm going to go through what you can do, what I specifically do, and how I am functioning today. So I hope you liked it. I'm doing my best to explain it. It is a huge subject, and it's finding it kind of difficult to press it down so it's viewer friendly. But anyhow, so I hope that was informative, and I will see you next time with the next part of the thyroid video.